All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a graphic novel. This is Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, The Way to Dusty Death from Marvel Comics from 1992, 30 plus years old, $7 at a time. Has a wraparound cover. And yeah, we're going to dive right in because it's going to be a long video because it's more than 60 pages plus of art and story. It's written by Roy Thomas, Gerry, Conway, penciler Michael Bair, Mark Beachum is the inker. Max Texeira is also the inker. Michael Bair is also the inker. So there's a lot of them, right? Without further ado, we have here Spider-Man, and he is pondering because today is the day that Uncle Ben died, and he's not in a really good mood, right? He's pondering and a little bit depressive. And also, he's sitting here on the bridge, and then he felt more guilty because this was also, well, not this bridge, but a bridge where he lost Gwen Stacy, right? And then he sees someone on the walkway, a woman, young, beautiful. Not exactly dressed for a stroll across the bridge, but hey, this is New York. Just as I spot her, she turns toward the river. Slowly, calmly, deliberately, she climbs the railing. And all of a sudden, I know what she came here to do. So she jumps, right? And then he says, I see Gwen. Gwen who was killed by the very height from which she fell. Even though I caught her. This time at least, I catch the woman before she gains too much momentum. I swing into her at an angle to cushion the impact. Could I have saved Gwen by doing that years ago? Sure, I could have. Just like I could have saved Uncle Ben. But then she is going wild and try to claw his eyes out, right? But then she grabs her. But she's still fighting. For a moment, I attempted to slug her. The way they say lifeguards often have to do to stop a drowning swimmer from fighting them. With my luck, though, I just give her a black eye and I end up with a nasty lawsuit. A little bit about the art. I've done a review of Vampirella with Michael Bair's art, and he draw Vampirella very sexualized. Probably that was the purpose. Not in here. And I must say, I'm very impressed with his work. I mean, I don't have many Michael Bair's art in comics with Michael Bair's in it. He's doing a phenomenal job, especially with backgrounds and positioning and a lot of how he draws panels, right? So saving the woman, she says, when will you be out of my hair, Spider-Man? He said, what do you mean? Who are you? Hey, don't I know you? Do you know me? And she's starting to laugh. That's Rich, all you have done to my life. After all, sure, you're Melinda Morrison, right? The Scarlet Witch, and I saved you from that necromantic nutcase Xandu. So, and then we hear, you can see where they have met. I have read the issue with Wanda Maximoff and Spider-Man teaming up, and then, going to battle with Xandu. And she says, did you, Spider-Man? And can you still say that after you look behind you? Hey, come back here. And what do you mean, look behind? And then a portal forms, and there are demons coming from the death dimension, where Xandu is coming from. So yeah, they're having a battle, and she's running away for her life, right? And there's more and more and more coming out of the this portal, and then but then, well, Melissa's running for her life. She doesn't know what to do anymore, and she's about passing out before this truck can hit her. But then Doctor Strange comes in and swoops her away, right? And then he puts her in some kind of a stasis, maybe put her to sleep while he is aiding the Spider-Man. And he says, by the hoary host of Hogwarts. And then, so, Spider-Man, can you jump about 20 feet straight up? Stupid question. If he can, who can? Doctor Strange, right? I recognize that corny Hoggett line anywhere. So yeah, this probably was a time period that they do not interact with each other much. Although, I don't know, they met along the years a lot. Anyway, so Doctor Strange does some magic. And I love what the artist doing with the magic, although it's not really over the top, but he's doing stuff that we don't see much in comics anymore, in my opinion. Mostly it's just some scribbles and some Photoshop effects, and that's it, right? Instead of actually drawing the magic, if you will. And I think, again, personal opinion, I miss imagination in comics. You know, that, I mean, you can do everything, especially with magic, right? Magic is a fantasy concept. You can do everything with it. Yet they have no clue what to do. I mean, look at this backgrounds, man. Look how detailed they are, right? So Spider-Man decides to come with Doctor Strange because he was invited, and they go into his sanctum sanctorium. While Doctor Strange is now, I don't know, examining Melinda, right? She indicated that our old friend Zandu sent those demons after her. Yeah, I only understood that he'd been hauled off to some death dimension the last time we tangled. Anyway, so again, like I said, doing this magic and using this, I don't know, this hand waver, right? And then this eye pops up. Basically, he's using the eye of Agamotto. Normally, the eye would pops off and then hovering above her. You know, that's what's happening in most comics. But I like this visual aspect that he is doing this magic spell and then with this eye here. Really fun. Anyway. So he says there's some powerful forces here, and she was definitely dead, but now she's not. And also says, hey, you have the Wand of Batum here. And that was a thing that they had with Wanda and Spider-Man tangling against Zandu. But it's, of course, protected. And then Spider-Man says, well, oh, wait, these demons has followed us. But it's none other than Rinza, or what is his name? Rintra. He's an apprentice. He's been sent away, right? And he's doing some more examinations. Then we see something that happens in the past, right? And Spider-Man says, hey, I know that place, a used bookstore not far from here. Quite a few years back, judging by the clothes and the cars. And inside, that guy in the cape and headdress, Haranguin, is that how you say it? An audience in bibliophiles. It's Zandu, looking younger than I remember him. Must be some kinky lecture on books about the occult. Whoops, hope Doc isn't reading my mind. And then, and there, Melinda in front of Ro, totally enraptured. Love at first sight, probably. He says, too bad there's no audio to go with the visuals. I love to hear Zandu's pickup lines. So yeah, they are hooking up, I guess, right? And then Rintra's, doing some stroll because he's feeling that he's being, shoved aside as an apprentice. So what happens? Melinda became Zandu's disciple, as well as his lover. He's doing some kind of a hocus pocus when some of his magical energy goes astray and hits Melinda. She crumbles. Zandu runs to her, but it's too late. The torture in his face. Lord, could it be he actually loved her? We know that she died in the instant the ricocheting spell struck her, but Zandu convinces himself that it's only a trance-like sleep that just looked like death. So he built her a transparent shelter to protect her, and devoted the next several years to looking for a cure. But then Rinta's outside. Demons are coming, right? So and then he remembers the battles, from in the past, also with involving the Wand of Batum, in the other dimension, right? Dog wiped Zandu's memory clean, confiscated the de-energized wand, and figured that was the end of it. Months later, his memory returns. Zandu hypnotized me into stealing the crystal of Cadavus from Doc. He used it to regenerate the wand, believing it would awaken Melinda from her trance. It was the first we knew about his late girlfriend. It didn't work, though, and Doc explained why. Melinda hadn't passed all those years in a sleep resembling death, but in a kind of death resembling sleep. What? Okay, Rintra is being overwhelmed by demons, calling out some, I don't know, Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange is occupied. Now, this was the part with Scarlet Witch. Doug and I were dopes until let Xando go free, just because he deemed to go mad, sobbing over Melinda's corpse. Later, he mentally poured his spirit into the body of Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. Seems he could reanimate her body, but not her soul. So he decided to settle for what he could get. A real sweet guy. Xandu shoehorned his own mind into Wanda's butt and zapped me into his dimension. Anyway. So yeah, they are. You have to read that if you can pick that up. I believe it was a Marvel Fanfare number. Well, you can rewind my video and see it where. So yeah, basically they turn around. The Death Realm will blow up, and then the rulers of the Death Dimension grab Xandu as a replacement for Melinda. Right? Now I want to know too what's the case. Probably wasting a lot of time here. Yeah, let's not do that. Anyway, so Melinda now years later wandering the streets, aimlessly, doesn't know what to do. So for her it's just a couple of months, but it's in fact more than 20 plus years. So she's going back to her parents. Her parents was dead, and even her friends, childhood friends, were now 25 years older. And she basically becomes a little bit mad, and she's been attracted to death ever since. Visiting graves, and people around her died and all the time. So, yeah, she's maybe an avatar for death. Who knows? And Doc explains here that that Melinda's drawn to funerals, to death really, because she herself was dead once. And there's a part of her that wants nothing more than to return to that sweet repose of oblivion, right? But then demons invading the Sanctum Sanctorium, yeah. But then before Spider-Man can do anything, something happens to him, and he's being yanked out of his body, and his body is now attacking Doctor Strange, and it's none other than Xandu, who is now, invaded Spider-Man's body, and doing magic stuff. It looks wild, man. I like that. It's really exciting to look at, in my opinion. I also like the facial expressions on people's faces, especially Doctor Strange. He's really putting the effort, like he's really in danger, right? It's not like eating cookies and drinking tea and having funny quips. No, this is real danger, right? That we, again, don't see much in comics anymore. What I'm trying to say is this book is exciting to read because there is some stakes here, right? Anyway, so Xandu in Spider-Man's body seeing the wand of Batum, so he grabs it. Well, Doctor Strange is fending off these demons with spells, and then Xandu is taking Melinda's body and just, teleporting it out of here. Spider-Man, still in his astral form, is now following Doc, and because they need to find his body as quick as possible. Because if that's not the case, his body will turn himself apart and cease to exist. I will, he says. Great backgrounds, by the way. I have to say it. So they are sensing where the wand of Batum is, and also Melissa. And like I said, these backgrounds, man, fantastic. That's what I mean with immersive. You know exactly where they are going, and they are now in some underneath between stations. Well, they are not. Spider-Man's body, and Xandu is whipping up some kind of a portal right to the death dimensions, and then she says, "You do not give up easily, do you, Doctor Strange? I must get you out of the harm's way, dearest Melinda." And so she says, "If you love me, just send me to the death dimension. That's all I ever wanted since I returned to Earth. And that's precisely what I shall send you, my love, with the wand of the Batum in hand. And soon I will join you, and we shall rule that sphere together." And so our heroes comes in, right? And so yeah, they are going again into battle. And look, lots of detail. Look at these monsters, look freaking awesome, right? And so Strange says, "Let me take care of these demons." But Spider-Man wants to talk to Melinda, but she's out of it. And look at these facial expressions, really cool. She's entranced. Once she steps through that portal, she will be in the death dimension. She will remain for all eternity, Stephen Strange, in the stillborn sphere where keen these demons of decay and despair. Yeah, I like that. Like this over-the-top language or dialogue, I must say. And then he also boasting that he is not only has, his magical powers, but also the strengths of Spider-Man. Although he's weakened because what happened before, right? So Spider-Man jumps forward, tries to save Melissa, but then Strange says, "No, you can stop her that way." And it looks cool. But then instead of grabbing her, he faces through her, and then they are being hurled into the death dimension, right? And then, she says, "Is this supposed to be?" He says, "Is this supposed to be the death dimension?" "It is," she says. "Spider-Man, I can feel it. It's strange, like coming home. Yet somehow it doesn't seem nearly as pleasant as I remember it." Anyway, so there is some things going on in this dimension, some kind of an earthquake shock, and they don't know what's happening. And then more demons coming, grabbing Melinda. Spider-Man knows that they cannot, touch her because he's, ethereal, corporeal. Is that how you say it? I don't know. But then he tries anyway, and then it seems that he is solid in this dimension, right? So he's doing some kind of a spider kick. And then he's following the demons toward the Castle Grayskull. It's not Castle Grayskull, but he says Xanu must really have that design. So he goes in again, great detail, and so it seems that it's not really a castle, but more like a skull. So and then I don't know, he sees Gwen and Uncle Ben, right? Meanwhile, Strange is trying to, not getting himself killed. So he goes on top, but he makes the mistake that is Grand Central Station. A lot of people are here, and using his magic to not only, vanquish these demons, but also, defend himself from Xandu here. Pretty cool. And then they are going toe-to-toe together, right? So it seems that, like I said, Xandu is weakened, but, Strange knows that he is in Spider-Man's body, who's pretty strong. And while our real hero here is dealing with some other stuff. So he says, "Please go away. If this is death, let me die in peace. The way you let us die, dear Peter. The Green Goblin claimed my fall from the George Washington Bridge killed me before you swung out to grab me. And we both know it was the shock of your catching me that broke my neck, don't we, darling?" So Uncle Ben comes in and says, "Well, yeah, and about that the burglar killed him, right?" So they doing the guilt trip thing that we have seen many times before, but okay, let's move forward a little bit here. He says, "We be both alive, you uncle and I, if you hadn't let us down, Peter, deep in your heart and your soul. You know that's true." "Yes, but what can I do about it now?" "Well, for one thing, if we're dead, then you should be too, darling." So he says, "You should join us in death." And he says, "Yes, yes." So yeah, it's really getting to him, and it's starting to dissolve or decompose because he's willing himself to death, to die. "My costume's rotting too, aging in seconds, aging all the long months and years since their deaths. I know I deserve it, and yet, this is how we really look, darling. A few moments, and we reunited again in true death. And yet, don't fight it, Petey. Just relax, and we all be together, always. And yet," he says, "No." Look at this despair on his face, man. It looks great. Look at these visuals. He says, "I'm falling apart like I've already been dead for years. But I want to live. Do you hear me? Even if you're both dead, I'm not. And I want to live. But what about us, dear Peter?" He says, "Do you want us to go through eternity without you, whom we love so much? That's just it. If you really love me, if you truly were who you say you are, you never condemn me to an early grave, no matter how you died. You're both fakes. I know you are. Fakes. And I'm alive. Alive." I love this outburst, right? And then it seems that these two are, demons. They are masquerading as Gwen and Uncle Ben. And so he's picking himself together, becoming whole again. And now he's on some kind of a revenge spree to what Xandu or this death dimension is doing to him, right? So he's reaching his goal. And then we see Xandu on his throne, but also Melissa in a very sexy outfit. But he seems out of it. Spider-Man comes in, wants to save Melinda, of course, but the demons jump in. And again, look at this visual feast that we have on the screen, right? So Strange says, "Give it up, magician. Never. Always you have defied me. Try to keep me from my beloved Melinda. Personal, I think you'd be rid of her." "What? You heard me." That he did. And we respond just the way I thought he would. With a withering burst of eldritch energy that nearly gets through the seraphic shield I was already casting. "I'll kill you, Strange." So yeah, basically he's getting mad, and then he's using magic powers and Spider-Man's powers to pound on his shield, right? Plan? Sure, I've got a plan, a good one. Provided I've lived long enough to see it through. But then he's, luring him in, doing some kind of a concussive force spell, and then throwing Xandu into the death dimension because the portal was still open, right? And then Strange is, oops. Ah! Damn it. That was a little bit too quick. So Strange is following him. And then Spider-Man is just, defeating demon after demon, but they're pretty strong. And so he's making the connection that he says, "I'm fighting for my life here, for Melinda's life." Well, his astral self of driving my body around like it was a rent-a-car from Hertz. Wait a minute, that means Sander's physical body is, well, sort of like an abandoned automobile. Maybe he left the door unlocked. For all I know, maybe the key's still in the ignition. So he wants to jump in his body. It's booby-trapped. So, yeah, what's happening now? Meanwhile, Spider-Man or Xandu is pummeling on Strange because he says, "I made a significant discovery this evening, Strange. Inundating you with a spell after painful spell is enjoyable in a certain shadow sorcerer's way, but ultimately there's really nothing quite as satisfying, as emotionally fulfilling as the story punch in the jaw." And then, frankly, pal, I couldn't agree with you. "What? It is I." So yeah, Spider-Man is in Xandu's body, and that, caught him off guard. And then he says, "Ow, that hurts." Yeah, because Xandu's body is not Spider-Man's body, right? So that gives Strange an opening to reverse whatever Xandu did to Spider-Man's body, right? Look at this intensity, right? It's so cool. I like that. I like intense art. And they're doing the switcheroo, and they are in each other's bodies again, right? But then instead of a battle, Spider-Man really pissed off, right? He says, "Don't strike me, please. Melissa's in no danger, I swear it." But then more quakes, right? He says, "You felt all this like in the brief time you've been in this dimension? Are you kidding?" says Spider-Man. "I vote we cream Xandu, grab Melissa, and split for the Great White Way." "No, don't take Melinda." So he says, "Are you truly so selfish, man, that you want her to stay here where she might get killed? She's already dead, don't you see? She was always dead, no matter what else she or you may have thought." "What are you babbling about, wizard? Of course she's alive. Let him talk, Spider-Man." "You understand at last, don't you, Strange? Melinda, my poor dear Melinda, has been dead ever since that night. My spell went awry years ago. She was dead, but she came back to life the time I was here. Would to God that she had, Spider-Man." "I know. I briefly transported the scarlet witch spirit into Melinda's body for my own selfish purposes. But in the end, I was dragged bodily into his sphere in Melinda's stead, while she seemed somehow miraculously restored to life on Earth. In time, I became this domain's ruler. I watched her from afar, content to remain here as long as she could be alive. But then I saw how woefully unhappy she has become in the land of the living. My magic revealed that she now belonged in the death dimension, but she must either return here or ultimately go mad. So he says that he's begun to influence her for dreams and, try to make her go, do suicide. Suicide, Xandu? No, not suicide, not really, but not murder either. Once you told me wisely that instead of being in a state of sleep resembling death, she was in fact in a state of death that merely resembles sleep. Now I know that though she returned to earth, she was never truly restored to life. The death demons dragged me here to take her place, but that did not mean she truly lived again. Now, this time she has wakened to a state of death which merely resembles life. Thus she can never again be happy or even content among the truly alive. I beg you, Strange, let me keep her here in this domain, which I know her true home. Owl home. But then Strange says, I need to examine her. And then more quakes coming. The astral plane is threatening to come apart at the seams. And that was he was afraid of. So he says, so Strange says, we cannot both stay here, not Xandu nor Melinda, or the entire death dimension will tear itself apart. One of them must leave and the other remain. No, he says, you will not separate us again. Go, Strange, depart with the masked cretin while you still have time. With the wind of Beachum once more in my hands, I defy you. I shall stay here with my Melinda, whether this realm, whether all the universes lives or dies. But then that's probably not how it went. Leave Xandu to me, Strange says, because, well, that's not how it went, right? So, again, they have a fight. But it's been briefly... look at this. Just the same on Xandu's home turf, it looks like his Sorceress Supremus could use a little help against the Xandu 1 combination. So when I've caught a couple of demons and the rest are taking a split second to regroup, I do what I can. So he's grabbing the wand of Beachum and, breaks it in a million pieces, and therefore Xandu lost. You have defeated me. I've no choice to admit it. So the dimension is shaking harder and harder. Look at this. Look at this amazing art. So Strange says, Melinda, I want you to scream as loud as you can. Scream? I don't understand. Just do it for the sake of the world. So she's screaming, right? And she also says, for the sake of everyone you love. Melinda screams and the deathquake peters out for good. Even the cracks and crevices are gone like they never existed when she stops screaming. So, Strange, okay, this is a little bit odd. Strange says, the death dimension will survive with Melinda Morrison's as its new sovereign. The proof is the way her primal screen stitched the endangered realm back together. What? I don't know, that's a little bit far-fetched. Anyway, so Spider-Man says, will the death demons take Melinda as their ruler? Who else should they obey but one who conquered death by eluding its grasp for so long? That's a reach, Strange. Yes, I believe we'll find the Queen Melinda is in for a long, long reign. So they're going back to the dimension. Xandu is a little bit out of his mind, and he's, how can I go on living while you are down among the dead, my dear lost Melinda? I guess it really was love after all. Anyway, so he says, I'm going back, patrolling. What do you do with Xandu himself? So he says, I found a place, a secure place where he can start to heal his emotions, right? All right, so yeah, he's done for. But then Spider-Man goes on his way and he's feeling bad for Xandu and even Melinda. And then we see this, probably one of the best scenes. There's some place I'm meaning to go all evening. Like Xandu, I've been battled against the grim specter of death, seeking to deny its claim on me, or those I love. And I guess I'll go on doing that. But maybe the only real way to honor the dead is by making the most of your life, whether it's last a few fleeting years or a swiftly elapsed century. I'll give it a shot, Uncle Ben. For you. And that's the end of the book. Fantastic. We are, well, we are nearing the 30-minute mark, guys. So I'm keeping it brief. Thank you for watching. Give me a subscribe, a like, and a comment below. I really would like that. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.